I was preaching in Congo on deliverance, and I mentioned the umbilical in the course of prayer. I mentioned the umbilical cord and commanded the powers that were holding anybody in captivity through the umbilical cord to leave them now. My interpreter passed out, just went boa, and pastor died.
Welcome to Mediator Channel. Please kindly subscribe.
Which serves as a point of entrance or exit. It's called gate. Number 2 meaning is a place or position of authority, control, power, and dominion, as in Genesis 24:16 or 22:15 to 17. Now, in Genesis 22:15 to 17, Abraham offered his son Isaac to the Lord on the altar of sacrifice. God was so overwhelmed because man is naturally selfish. He wants the best for himself. This man has waited for this child for 25 years and he's born. And as he was growing up, God demanded for him to be used as a sacrifice. And God was watching to see what Abraham would do. Abraham willingly took the boy without telling the mother, nor the boy what he was going to do, to Mount Moriah, and they tied him and put him on the altar to slay him. What he did is exactly what God did for you and me in Christ Jesus. And when God saw Abraham doing that, it's like, excuse me, can a man have my heart and behave like me? So he turned around and he said to Abraham, sorry, I didn't mean that you kill your son. I just wanted to test you. You passed the test. Of course, you know he provided the lamb. And then they released Isaac. And he said to him, in blessing, anything blessing, I will bless you. And it is in that line he said, your children shall possess the gate of their enemies. And what that means is that your children will have dominion, they have control. Yes, they will have power and authority over their enemies. God was blessing Abraham. He said, in blessing, at the ultimate place, your children will rule at the gates. Shortly after that, the family of Rebekah, when giving her out in marriage to Isaac, that you will find in the same Genesis, I think 2 chapters after the first one, Genesis 24 verse 60. They said, our sister, may the Lord bless you and make you a mother of multitudes. May your children possess the gates, in plural. Talking about gates of influence of their enemies. That was the ultimate blessing the ancients will give. And Jesus, trying to lay foundation for his church, said, I will build my church. It will be so strongly built that the gates of hell shall not have a place in their presence. When you go to our seminaries and Bible colleges, you look through our curriculum, probably will not find anything on gates. And yet it is a very major thing for God. That is the only major way he could bless Abraham. That is the only major way the family of Rebekah could bless his wife given to her. That is where Jesus began to lay foundation for his ministry. But you don't find it in our curriculum. And because of that, we overlooked the issue of gates of influence, or the subject of gates. And we left that vacant and open. When he restored Job as a symbol of righteousness, he restored him at the gate. Today, we have left the gate of politics open for the enemy to grab anyhow he likes. We have left the gate of the economy. It's open. Once in a while you find a righteous step in there to head the banking industry. We have left very important gates of influence like that to the enemy. Africa has 54 nations. And then it has 5 others that are not purely independent nations. And so it has about 61 nations. And out of these 54 nations, you can hardly find 2 that has presidents that are born-again Christians. In a continent that has 54 independent countries, how many of them are headed by a born-again Christian? Somebody some time ago described Africa as a dark continent inhabited by whatever he liked. Should we be dark in color and dark in our mindset? Are we really dark in the spirit? Does that translate to foolishness and ignorance? I don't think so. I'm not speaking to make you too excited. That we are dark in complexion is the way God chose to make us. And I argue everywhere I go in the world that we are dark because God took his time to create me and you and allowed us to be well done. And the others he put out of the oven in a hurry. So and sincerely speaking, there's no other color you can take their blood and it will fit in any other creature that's human except from the black race. We were created well. The first civilization was Egypt, not the one now occupied by Arabs, but the black Egypt. Iron, I found it in the University of Baltimore, was first discovered among the blacks in Africa. Recently, the UN has discovered that as well. Every country I have gone, in the Caribbean, in the South America, almost all the heads of the hospitals are blacks. And call the university any name you like, you will find deans, heads of department that are blacks. So, in their intellect, they are not dummies. But come to church people. Why did you allow the wicked run your gates of influence? People told us, maybe it was the mistake of the missionaries who came initially and told us that you should reject the world, take the whole world, but give me Jesus, and then you live in the space. Take the whole world and give me Jesus, then we will live in the backyard. Take the whole, I don't know what that means. So we believe them. They showed us how to read and write, and they told us that's all you need to learn. And you have nothing to do with the gates of influence. And so we never fought to lead. As I was growing up, I was told that for you to do business, You will soil your hands, so don't do business at all. So you remain holy. So we had some of the teachings that paralyzed the church, ran contrary to what God did and said. But I'm grateful for opportunities like this that bring us back to the place of gates of influence. There are many things about gates. I will quickly run through them. Of course, you know the 7 mountains. They are part of the gates. But I want to say that the gate starts with you. You are a whole world on your own. Your umbilical cord is a gateway. Many times I've seen occasions where we prayed for people everywhere, and the Holy Spirit will say, touch the umbilical cord. And once we do that, the person goes up and the demon leaves. The umbilical cord is the only way the baby in the womb received nourishment in the body of the woman. It's the connection between the baby and the mother. Okay. And so it's a gateway to the baby. And when the baby is born, the umbilical cord is still there, still a gateway. One day I was preaching in Congo on deliverance. And I mentioned the umbilical, in the course of prayer, I mentioned the umbilical cord and commanded the powers that were holding anybody in captivity through the umbilical cord to leave them now. My interpreter passed out, just went boa, and passed out, died. I said, God, I'm sorry, I don't know what I mentioned, but he's my interpreter. I cannot speak French. You have to bring him back to finish the interpretation. They came around, tried to resuscitate him. I was watching, and he wasn't coming around. I took a cup of water and blessed it, and then asked them his name. They told me. I called his name a few times, poured that water upon him, and said to him, come back now. He opened his eyes. I said, get up. He got up. I said, oh yeah, continue your interpretation. When we were done, and I said, what did I do wrong? Why did we lose you? He said the uncle took the umbilical cord of 5 of them, of the same parents. Their mother is dead, their father is dead, and the uncle has the umbilical cords. He put them in a bottle and corked them there and said they will only progress in life the day he decides to uncork the bottle and release them. So when I mentioned that, he had a sound that looked like the bottle exploded. And then he lost consciousness. He just passed out. I said, but do you believe what your uncle said? He said, yes. That is a master's degree holder. The wife is a graduate, but they live in a hole like a rat. The same thing with the other 4 siblings. I said, well, you've been liberated. One day I was preaching in a church outside Nigeria, and we were at the altar with the pastor. As we were praying, I mentioned the umbilical cord. The wife screamed, went on the ground, and began to roll to the 3rd road. It's these buildings they build, and the door opens on the 3rd road. The husband was vibrating in the spirit. And when I opened my eyes and saw the wife rolling out of the, I said, oh boy, come on, stop praying. See your wife go alone. The man took off to recover his wife. So the umbilical cord is a gateway to our bodies. I would recommend you look at for the book Elders at the Gates or Battles at the Gates, and then study them. The gates of influence are gates that help you to to exercise dominion that God gave you. Is to control, have authority, to fulfill the mandate of Jesus that the church shall prevail at the gates of influence. And they include the political gates. For those of you who are here, please don't be afraid to contest to be the governor of Lagos State. Pastor Bimbo will be happy to be the mother, spiritual mother of the governor of this pastor. Not the wicked. I want to say to you, they control so much power that they can revoke the CFO of where you live and construct a road there and just give it a name to move you away. And they have immunity from the military time that whatever they do to you, you can't take them to court when they come out of that office. And you left that in the hand of the wicked. The budget and the amount of money they receive, their Esther code and their security vote alone is enough to run 10 times the budget of the church. And they use it to do stupid things, fund cult meetings, and then own hotels in every capital city, in the state capital in Nigeria, and all put them in banks overseas. And they will die one day. In Switzerland, Nigerian money there is what they use to run their country. Because of the selfishness of our politicians who took the money down there, coded them, died. Their wife didn't know the code, their children didn't know the code, and the money is gone. But you allowed them, you gave them the chance. I want you to know that because of the length of time that the enemy has held on to this, if you now go and say, I'm the legitimate child of God who should own this thing, they will put up a fight. It's like you've lost it. But you have to say no. You have to have courage, boldness, like what God told Joshua. You have to have courage, you have to have boldness to fight. And you have to contend and contest it anywhere they take it to. Even if they say go to court, you go to court. You fight for it. The enemy has stolen what belongs to you, taken your expensive car or something and ran away. You don't let him just run away. If you let him, he will take it. But if you go after him, you can recover it. A brother and his wife were coming back from work and they snatched the car of his wife. There's a radio. They work for oil companies, so every car has a radio. There's a radio in his car. He began to speak like he is radioing the police of the oil companies. He said, a car number this, of this color, of this type, has been snatched from my wife, and they are heading towards Rumola Junction. Stop them and kill all of them. So the robbers had that several times. When they made traffic, they opened the door and left the car there and ran away. And he was driving behind the car and was making this announcement. He got his car back. So if the enemy has snatched your votes, snatched your mandate and run off, and you didn't pursue him, and you are not shouting, you are not screaming, you are not making demands for him to be stopped, he will go away with what belongs to you. But if you go after him, you will take it back. And I want to say to you, church, take back.
Thank you for watching. Please do not forget to subscribe, share, like, and comment. See you next time.